So I look at the church and I say the church should be an ally to us, right? It should be an ally to us. And yet too often the church is a bystander to the destruction. I think about when Jesus talked about the man who was beaten, and the priest walked and saw the man who was beaten and walked by on the other side of the street. And the Levite saw the man who was beaten and left for half dead and walked by on the other side of the street. Maybe they even prayed for him. We'll pray for you, but we're not going to get involved. And it was a Samaritan. In that culture, the despised Samaritan who showed mercy, who said, I will pick up this person, attend to his wounds, take him to a place where he can heal. And which one of those people was the neighbor? The Samaritan. I thought about the testimony of Rachel Den Hollander. She first went public with a sexual abuse charge against Larry Nassar. She is an evangelical Christian. And she saw that the biblical teachings about grace and repentance were being what she called weaponized against victims. Here's what she said about the church. Church is one of the least safe places to acknowledge abuse because the way it is counseled. More often than not, damaging to the victim. There is an abhorrent lack of knowledge for the damage and devastation that sexual assault, or may I add, false allegations, or may I add, having your children taken away by the state. There's a lack of knowledge of what's going on. It is with deep regret that I say the church is one of the worst places to go to for help. What I think we need to be doing is making our case to the churches as well, that we have been falsely accused, that in many instances children that are being taken away for no purpose whatsoever. At the meeting on Thursday, we discussed about how many children, I was reading about how many calls were made to CPS, and I believe in 2016 it was about 175,000. They acted on 67,000, 68,000. 48,000 of those calls dealt with negligent supervision. What is negligent supervision? Is your child playing outside and you go to the bathroom, and while you're going to the bathroom, the child falls and scuffs up his head? What is this negligent supervision? Almost 70% of the cases were negligent supervision. No danger, no harm, but we're CPS and we're here to help you. And we're here to put you in a program that will destroy your family. Nobody knows what to do when this hits you at the beginning. You just start to do something. And you know that you see the people here, we're all linking up with other people. Last September, I met Don Rufty. We were at a meeting in a park. Don Rufty starts to speak about prosecuting the crooked judges. It was amazing. Don, I want to thank you for what you gave. So when I ended up through this court case, my ex-wife got up and committed perjury against me. This was a good opportunity to teach me a lesson or something. I have no clue what was going on. So I decided to take her to small claims court. I thought, how do I do this to say that I don't want to sue her? I don't want to see her go into bankruptcy, but I do want my daughter to reestablish the relationship with me. My daughter reacted on a false report. My family, my relationship was destroyed with my grandchildren. 2 months or 3 months prior, she wrote, Dad, I hope you're always close to Cruz and Gideon because you're good for them. And if you are close to them, I know they're going to turn out okay. This is what she wrote to me. Several months later, she's suing me in court. So I thought, how do I reestablish this thing? And the only way I could do it was to try to say, well, if I take my ex-wife to small claims court, the judge knew it was perjury. I'm sure that the small claims court will also rule, Miss Wygant, my ex-wife, Miss Wygant, the evidence shows that you've committed perjury. The judge knew exactly what I was in there for. The judge chose, as people have mentioned, to suppress the evidence. He chose to dismiss the case without cause. So, following the example of my brother Don Ruffey over there, I filed a complaint against him with the State Commission for Judicial Conduct. I will know on April the 9th, and trust me, no matter how they respond, I'm ready to go public. I think that when we talk about addressing these issues, the family destruction industry, we need to go public, get other people on our side. I would hope that the church would also start to join us as well. What I do know is this. Several years ago, when I started to go through this stuff, it was if God spoke to me, and people of faith here, so I can say this. In the Old Testament, God asked Moses, what is in your hand? And he said, just a rod, right? And it was as if God said to me, what's in your hand? And I said, well, a video camera. To which he said, use it. And I thought, do you have any idea what you're asking me to do? I don't even know how to use this thing. But it seems like for whatever reason, somehow, it has been being used by God. I've been contacted by people throughout the state, throughout the U.S., from other countries, people that have said, we're going forward based on this information because I've been able to record some outstanding people. What I do know is this: silence is not an option. God gave you a voice. Use it. God gave you something. Use it. I also want to address grandparents. I am a grandparent. And as I've said, it's because I'm a grandparent that I'm fighting and that I'm not going to stop with this, because I do not want to see my grandchildren destroyed. Grandparents, you have a lot of strength. You are the largest voting bloc in the United States of America. Many of you grandparents have time and money. And many of you have been told that maybe you're useless or past your prime or something. You are not. Grandparents love their grandchildren. Grandparents, I beg you, get involved for the sake of your grandchildren. If you don't, these things will get worse. I want to thank Ted for organizing this. Nancy Schaefer. I am grateful for what she did and for the letter that her son sent. Grateful to be here to honor her memory and to continue the work on behalf of families that she began. Thank you for letting me speak for a few minutes. And thank you to all of you, John Gentry, Don Ruffey, Brian Kinter, the many other people that I've spoken with here. You, Terry, there's so many times you want to quit. So many times you say, is it worth it? I'm driving up here thinking, I'm from Dallas. What am I doing here today? But you keep making one extra step. You don't know when that step is going to be the one that may crack this thing wide open. Thank you so much.